Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso at thewatchbox.com, your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Reach out to me directly, tmosso at thewatchbox.com. And today we're discussing a Z series, so circa 2007, Rolex Oyster Perpetual Day-Date, the 118208, a timepiece 36 millimeters in diameter, beautifully sized, traditionally proportioned, but unusual in its specific details. This is as close to a unique Rolex Day-Date as I've encountered. I have never seen another exactly like it. So 36 millimeters in diameter, 12.4 millimeters thick, 43.1 millimeters lug-to-lug, but you know you're not going to wear it that way. You're going to wear it with the bracelet, so it's 48 millimeters end link to end link with a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Thrown it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, you get a good sense from the over the top that this is a Rolex designed for smaller wrists as well as large. I've got plenty of clearance on either side of my wrist. You can see the over the top, the cuff shot easily sliding underneath the sleeve. The watch is impressive. The gold is all Rolex, as Rolex has its own foundry, it smelts its own gold, it makes its own cases, bracelets, and clasps. And the clasp and the bracelet set this Day-Date apart. Traditionally, the watch has been called the President, but that's a nickname for the watch. Properly, the bracelet normally seen on this watch is called the President, but this bracelet here is the Oyster. This is normally seen on Sea Dwellers, Submariners, Daytonas, and GMTs. It's a sportier look. It's a more muscular look. It's unconventional on this model. We have polished centers, satin flanks, polished outer faces. All removable links are fixed by screws, as is custom for Rolex. You can see there are half links on both sides to allow precise sizing. And we have the Rolex crown clasp here. So it's an Oyster bracelet, but it's still the crown clasp, with the crown being the mark of the partition between the two sides. But this is the super crown clasp, as it is a vertical trigger with a beak and a hook, so it's not simply a friction shim to pry open like in the past. It is actually a hook release system and more secure. The swing arm internally is all of high polish. Again, there have been significant upgrades from previous generations of the Day-Date. And then we roll over to the case, where you can see one of the hallmarks of the post-2000 version of the Day-Date, polished lug hoods. Previously, they would have been satin finished. So this watch, made in 2007, has polished lug hoods, polished case flanks, a lovely, lithe, sinuous, and sensuous tapered lug profile with compound curves on the edge of the case. And then you can see another element that sets this version of the Day-Date apart. It has a domed bezel. Normally on a gold Rolex with a gold bezel, you're going to see a faceted or fluted profile. This domed profile gives it a little bit of a neo bubble back look, as it recalls the earliest Oyster water-resistant cases with the Perpetual automatic winding system. So it's got a little bit of a vintage Oyster Perpetual profile rather than Day-Date fluted bezel. And that's not a bad thing, because this watch is very individual in its style. That continues on the dial side, where we have a multi-toned gold sunburst and Rolex wave dial. So the sunburst is underneath the hour track, and then at the center we have the Rolex wave. This is something you're more likely to see in the decor of a Rolex boutique than on the dial of a Rolex watch, but it's an historic motif at Rolex that represents the seafloor or the seabed, where you are wont to find, for example, oysters. Outboard, we have a railroad track for reading the seconds and the minutes, and then on that sunburst hour track, you can see the sunburst of the hour track emanates out from an imaginary center point. We have these lovely polished and radially arrayed yellow gold Arabic numerals, another element that sets this dial apart and this watch apart from a standard Day-Date. We have yellow gold 5-point coronet, yellow gold hands, all of this gold on the dial, pure gold to resist oxidation and tarnish over time. And you can see how the baton style hands have been faceted down their center to better contrast with the dial base. You'll also note in the wave motif several different tones of gold are used. This watch features a twin lock crown, screw down, 100 meters water resistant. It features a stop seconds function, so you can hack the watch, but then it also features a double quick set, so you can, and I'll demonstrate how this works, you can set the date and you can set the date rapidly using a double quick set in two different directions. Inside, Rolex manufactured caliber 3155. Bidirectional winding, automatic, 48-hour power reserve, 5-position adjusted. It's a COSC Swiss chronometer. It beats away at 28,800 vibrations per hour. It pivots on 31 joules. It's shock resistant thanks to a full balance bridge and a free sprung balance. And it has a handmade Breguet overcoil hairspring, the better to help it earn the COSC chronometer certification, but also to help the watch keep even time in any orientation on your dresser or on your wrist. That's the benefit of 5-position adjustment and a Breguet overcoil. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details of this Rolex 118208.